With the song Fish and Chips, tells the story of my life as a young man growing up in England.
That's crazy.
Do you remember that one? That's a throwback, right?
Like, that's from like almost a year ago.
Yeah. It feels like longer though,
Oh
like
my
genuinely.
God. That's crazy.
Yeah. A go-go is interesting.
Isn't he like
Isn't he what?
on ice or something?
I have no idea. I genuinely don't know what the deal is.
Okay.
I'm really intrigued as to like whether he's kind of back in the picture for this London show and what that would even look like at this point, because
Sounds bad.
so the Cody match was May 2021, and after that he kind of went away, and I think he had some sort of injury, and he hasn't done anything since then of note, right? Maybe I'm forgetting.
Well, he was on Dark. That's all I remember, because I remember like religiously.
He's been on Dark, but in terms of like now? TV, I think maybe not consistently, but he's been on Dark like on occasion in the last 6 months. Would be my guess. He was on the press release, unlike Mr. Kip Sabian, no one Gunkel was pointed out. So maybe they're going to ramp it up for London. We shall see. Quickly, because this is very spiteful. Jonah is not my guy, nor Jaychele's for that matter. We've ended that bit. It's done. Multiple people told me that match sucked. Other people told me it ruled. I'll never watch it to find out. You'll live in mystery. Jaychele, we're back. How are you?
I'm good. That's quite funny. I did see that match was good. I'm still not going to watch it either, though.
Yeah. Well, we respect our time. Listen, folks. We want to talk about professional wrestling. We have our lines. We draw them. We respect each other's lines. Like when Punk comes back and he has a great match, I'm not going to text Jaychele. I'm going to let her enjoy that line. And there are lines I have. Sometimes when the Queen Charlotte Flair is cooking, I let that line go. I erase the line. Other times I redraw the line. We need our lines, is what I'm saying here. Which is a very common phrase in professional wrestling. But nonetheless, we do have
I would just personally like to say off the back of that, I think it's crazy how Charlotte has now decided, hey, I'm not going to come back for a little while after that. Just sit with that match.
Yeah.
Just sit with that match. I know her nose is broken and everything, but like, Miss Girl, really?
So the week of WrestleMania, we were doing a show on WrestlePurist, and Monty was like, there's already talk that Charlotte's not going to be around after WrestleMania for a while. And I didn't say anything on the air because, like, whatever. But I was thinking, why? Like, and to be clear, I have no issue with it. But I was thinking, in my head, I was kind of thinking, I swear, like, she just came back.
She did.
And then immediately there was the story. And, like, look, good for her. I mean, she's doing her thing.
Maybe she doesn't like the sale idea.
Maybe. I also do think, like, that crop of talent has been there longer than I think people realize, Like, Charlotte signed in, I think, 2012, maybe 2013. Like, that's a long career, if you look at, for example, Trish, we're going to talk about tonight, today, because she's relevant, obviously, as of right now, back in the story again. But Trish's like full-time career was like 6 years, I think. Which is, it kind of gives you some perspective on like some of these women have been really rolling for a long time here. That kind of a horsewoman crop, so to speak. But look, if you can do what Charlotte does these days, do it. Oh wow, I'd be doing it. God bless.
2012 was the year she was signed.
That's crazy, right? 11-year run, like, and obviously the main roster of NXT, I get that they're different, but I think sometimes people miss that a little bit.
It's also super different because she's been at WWE for 12 years, like through and through. Like she was trained there, and like I think that's so interesting, especially like with her being such a star now. She doesn't have to resign; she could literally do whatever she wanted to.
Yeah, just
like Mercedes, and she still does. So.
Indeed, who we will talk about. And the other thing too of someone like Charlotte is, and I don't mean this to disparage because it is what it is, but like she's talked about how she wasn't someone who was like she wasn't like a super fan of the business, right? It was saying and very much she had that kind of that motivation with Reed and such, which I always thought was rather touching. But I think that also makes it different too, right? Like it's much more, I think, transactional for her. When she gets into it, when she's around, if she gets into that, she'll obviously go crazy the way she did at Mania. She want to put on one of her best performances. And there are other times you can tell when she's not into it, it shows, right? So like she's winning right now. She's working like half the year. Every time she's around, she's the champ. She loses the belt and she goes.
She's Brock Lesnar.
She is.
She's literally Brock Lesnar.
She is, yes. She needs to figure out the Brock match, though, right? She needs to find her version that's like 4 minutes long. You know? That's the real money right there.
Oh my God, no, please, no.
I mean, it would be bad, but also it would be kind of beast, right? Like if Charlotte was like, she was the first major, well, I guess Ronda kind of did it. I'm imagining Charlotte doing like what would be her version of the German suplex deal? Like the suplex city spot? Like what would be her natural selection city? She just keeps doing the. Yeah, I don't know.
No, yeah, the big boot. It's the big boot for sure. I think. She'd be like, get up, get up, get up.
That would be especially funny because all of her peers always seem to hate taking that big boot. They make it even funnier. Nonetheless, okay, we have some news here. Brian Cage is officially re-signed with AEW per Sean Ross Sapp. It seemed like things were trending that way after they won at Supercard of Honor.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's whatever. Right? It's fine. I mean, I'm not a big fan, but it is what it is. I never really got the WWE rumors. Always felt like I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they were interested in something. Like, what a weird fit that would be, right? Like what?
Go off, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Speaking of WWE. I would like us to start there, if you don't mind, Jaychele. Well, last time we spoke, it was the WrestleMania review. It was quite the night after old Code Man had failed to finish the story. Yeah. And we were on the air when the press conference was happening, right? And we were kind of reacting to some of the stuff that was in the chat, and Bob was very upset. And there was this particular quote where Triple H was talking about how the clue was in the idea of finish the story because the story never ends. The story always continues forever and ever. Now, how do I put this? I believe that to be one of the more dumb things anyone has ever said in the history of the world, actually. I don't think that's... the more I fall back, the more annoying it is to me. What do you make of the theory that because there's TV next week, no story can ever end? What do you think, Triple H? That was just the best way you could spin it. What do you think?
That was just like the worst spin ever. Like that was the ultimate cop out.
Yeah.
Like that's not even. Well, obviously, no duh.
It's so bad. Like, of course the stories end. Like, what is? Just because the show goes on doesn't mean the stories don't. Anyway, I bring this up because there was some talk that, Dave, I think, reported that at no point was Cody planned to win this match. All times it was going to be Roman winning. Now, my first question is, do you believe that? Fair. Uncertainty on the face there. A certain... I don't think you do. I don't.
I don't know if I can say yes. I don't know if I can say no.
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen that. Yeah.
The Triple H Booker T stuff. Yeah. Yeah, not ideal. Now the reason I ask you the question is, I know you were I would say you were a proponent of the Triple H regime for the most part, right? We had our critiques of it, and I think most people can agree that it was certainly better than what we had before. Now, my question to you would be, if that is true, and at no point Cody Rhodes was winning the title, does that make you question Triple H's vision or read on the audience? Because to me, if it was never the intention that Cody, that feels like a misstep to me, That feels kind of preposterous to me.
I think he's already made a few missteps, so I wouldn't put it past him, honestly. I just think that he made a lot of stupid branding decisions in that case, if that's what he really was going to do from jump. Like, if from the beginning he was going to have Roman still win, they did way too big of like a parade for Cody, really. I think
Yeah.
so.
I wouldn't have framed it as finish the story, right? If he was never going to do that. That seemed like a mistake. I'm intrigued. What would
The story is crazy, yeah.
it is, yeah. Kind of feels like a rib. I'm intrigued. What would you circle as missteps for Triple H? One that a lot of people talk about is the women's division. Would you kind of co-sign? Yeah.
Yeah, I always co-sign the women's division. But he did get bullied into putting women's matches on the show, which is something we haven't seen done before. So I might give him credit.
Yeah.
Bullying works.
I'm trying to think of specific ones. I think Damage Control is one, right?
Damage Control. I think the Liv title reign.
Yeah.
The Ronda title reign.
The women's division stuff was
women's
rough.
tag titles in general. I don't know. Mia Yim, Candice LeRae.
Was you surprised that neither of those women were in the showcase thing at Mania? Like,
I thought that they would be a tag team. I'm not gonna lie to you, because they were like working together.
They were, yeah. That was a thing. And then they started doing the Candice and Nikki thing, and I was just confused. I was surprised that none of those women ended up in the show. I mean, not to disparage the folks that were, but like, you know, I think there was some spots in that match that maybe could have been used, but nonetheless, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I think he does a lot of things well. He's a logical booker. I think but I definitely think it's you know, you look back on NXT, you kind of think about it. He definitely leans heel, and it's not surprising to me that he may have been bullish on the bloodline thing continuing on, which I know you're not enthralled by. Has anything changed your mind since, like, in the week and changed since then about more bloodline, or are you done with this?
I'm not gonna watch the bloodline stuff anymore. I'm also not as invested in like Sammy and Kevin as other people are to like help me still get through the bloodline. So it definitely isn't helping. The only way like you can convince me to like get interested in the bloodline is if you add women, and obviously that's not happening because that ship has like sailed so far away. So
yeah, I have to be honest. I mean, I'm a big fan of both guys, but I will be honest in saying that when I saw that pre-tape where Sammy was like pleading with Jay to break away from the bloodline, and then he just beat him up again at the end of the show, I was like, good Lord, like, it feels like we're going in circles with this. And I'm sure there's more detail to it than what I just described. So I don't want to be dismissive of it, but it just feels like, I don't know. To me, it's one of those things where it's like, genuinely, this is the way I see it.
One thing I will say that he has done like really good though is like the Judgment Day. I
killed it with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
He
absolutely.
That around.
He's done. There's genuinely. He's done a lot of stuff. There's a handful of things he's done really, really well, and I think he did overall a good job. My fear with the bloodline is this: basically, it's like there is a chance that he maintains the heat that this thing had with Cody, and by the time we get to SummerSlam, I'm made a fool of, and I'll eat my words happily. You know, if that match is bigger at SummerSlam than it was at WrestleMania, I'll be the first one to be like, I got it wrong. I'll believe it when I see it, but if it happens, I'll be the first one. But it just feels like the longer we go with this bloodline thing, the more you're going to kind of, in a lot of ways, to me, diminish what made it so good. People really did love this angle and still do, unquestionably. The crowds are still into it. But if you keep going in circles, you know, like eventually you kind of take the shine off of it. There are many A storylines that have proved that through wrestling history, and I do fear by the time this bloodline thing's done, everyone's going to forget how good it was at one point, just kind of like, well, whatever, because it's, I don't know. I don't know if there's an end in sight. What do you think the chances are that by the time we get to SummerSlam, we'll, you know, misread this and it'll actually be hotter than ever? What do you think? Goose egg, yeah. Okay, fair. Works for me. We'll see. We'll let it play out. Okay. Now, regarding Cody and Triple H, we'll talk about Triple H as a booker. Let's quickly touch on the kind of big topic since we last spoke, is that, you know, the night after WrestleMania, Vince changed the whole show, seemingly to pop himself. He was less involved on Friday and last night, so we'll see kind of what it balances out as. What was your response, though, to him like immediately going from 0 to 100 with that Raw and going absolutely nuts on it, and then just kind of letting everyone just fear him for a week? That was something, right?
There's a TikTok, Joe. I'm going to do the movement.
Okay. is the thumbs down now like a TikTok exclusive? Is that the? I feel like,
Yeah.
familiar gesture.
I'm gonna do the face too. It's a facial.
Was you surprised? Was you surprised?
I'm sorry.
Very good.
No, honestly, no. I thought that just made sense because he was there, and I know that people were saying he definitely had a hand in WrestleMania as well. So I'm not surprised. And that the news of the sale leaked, and they wanted to impress the investors because they had the relationship with Vince and everything like that. It makes sense. It's what he would do, obviously.
Yeah. As a fan, I was talking to someone about this the other day. Like, as a fan, does it limit your investment sum to kind of even if Triple H runs the TV regularly, the idea that he can change decisions on a whim is kind of terrifying, right? Because knowing how impulsive he is and how easily he can just be swayed, I don't know.
That is scary. If you care about a superstar, I care about Bianca, obviously. Okay, that's a little nerve wracking, but him being there just makes me not want to be invested in it. Period. So,
yeah, I don't know. It's weird one because I do think last night's show. They had obviously the travel issues. It was actually a really good show. What I saw of it, I should say, and there will be consistently good shows, I think, on the TV when he kind of just lets Triple H do his thing. But if at every pay-per-view or every big decision, he then is going to be involved, it's almost like that in some ways is worse, right? Because you're going to dangle this carrot of, what was, and it's going to be, that's going to be a really strange thing long-term. And it does appear that's going to be what it is long-term. So we'll kind of figure out as we go what that looks like. Hopefully it's, a show people can still enjoy because a lot of people got back into it over this last 6 months and change. So we shall see. One of the big things they're going to be building around is Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. Cody, this is his rebound feud, I guess, right? And the assumption is
that so much. I'm not
into it.
I really don't like it. I don't understand it.
Well, I don't think there's. I mean, have you heard the reason they've kind of come up with? It's very bad.
I only watched the Raw after Mania. I didn't watch. Yes.
So Brock hasn't had a chance to explain himself yet, so we'll see what he says when he gets a chance. But the thing that they've thrown in is this idea that he was mad that he was the opening match at WrestleMania. And this was a thing that supposedly Vince directly said that Wade Barrett needs to say this on SmackDown. He was like, I heard Brock was mad about his spot on the card. And then last night, Cody referenced this in his promo. And I don't really understand why Brock would have. I mean, I think the actual reason, to be quite honest, Jaychele, is they're just going to be it's Brock. He does what he wants.
Yeah.
But from a storyline point of view, he fucking hates the bloodline. Why would he? Why would he not want to fight them?
And he was recently a face. Bro, that was a unnecessary 180 turn for me. I feel I feel like Cody's storyline, I think he needed to cool off a little bit too. I would say take him off TV for a second because you just highly damaged his character, and then you have him get beat up the next day on Raw. I don't like it too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for the match itself.
Oh, I like
a little bit.
This one. The
Heyman paid off Brock. Yeah, that would make some sense. I'm torn. I really want to see the match. I worry a bit about how Cody presents himself in the feud because I think he's going to go full underdog. He got a really good promo on Raw, but he also did the very dramatic, I'm scared of Brock, of course I'm scared. And it was oh God, this is going to be a lot. He's going to burst into tears in the middle of their match. It's going to be a whole ordeal. But I will say the crowd is still super into Cody.
I think it's sucky how they had the Dusty Rhodes documentary come out a week after Cody lost. Yeah. That's disrespectful.
Yeah, I heard that was very good. I don't know if you've seen it. I haven't yet. I'm going to watch it. I don't
watch those documentaries, but I did hear that it was good.
Some of them are good. It depends on the. Depends on who they get to interview for those things. There's a lot of liars in professional wrestling, folks. I'm sorry to announce, but I've heard that Dusty One is terrific. I will watch that at some point.
Who be lying?
Well, there's a certain fella that he was in the NWO, and he tells a tall tale or two.
I am with that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. He lies about everything basically. But one of my favorite things he says on it, that is not even a lie, it's just funny. So Hall and Nash are talking about how like Hulk was kind of corny. Like, they would do those promos and Hulk would be like, brother this, brother, and they would kind of have to rein him in. So they ask Hulk about this like early chemistry, and he goes, it was tough at the start, because none of us were friends. And it's like, well, hold on, stop, pause, hold up. There were 3 of you. 2 of the 3 were best friends, and you were the third man. Now, I'm no mathematician, Jaychele, but it seems like they didn't like you. That's what it's like being in a group of 2 best friends, like, yeah, none of us liked each other. It's like, well, no.
Well, that is alternative facts.
It's truly, it is a shame that he is a like legitimate piece of shit, because on some level I pop for like that kind of that's good lying, like just throwing your hands up like, oh, none of us liked each other.
Yeah, that's just funny. That doesn't hurt anybody either.
No, exactly. There's a lot of that stuff, and Bruce Pritchard, he's in rare form whenever he's on that show. Just making stuff up. Fuck it, just lie.
Are you serious?
They just make stuff up all the time. Like, he was talking about Yoko. He probably thinks this is true because he has no reason to lie about it. But like, I know quite a lot about Yokozuna's career, just as a fan. And like, Bruce said like 4 things in that documentary that I knew immediately were not true. And like, you just let it roll because it's probably what Bruce remembers. Like, he was talking about how he was talking at one point about how Yoko, like, he did the Duke weight loss camp in his home. He's like, no, this is not true, Bruce Pritchard. You're lying again. But again, like, I don't think he's just Bruce Pritchard. He has to, anyway. Nonetheless, yes, Greg Gagne is the best liar of all time. He's invented every good wrestling angle ever.
The one who traded Paige Van Zandt?
Maybe the one who traded Tiffany Stratton. Have you seen her new shirt?
And it definitely is Tiffany Stratton.
Have you seen her new shirt?
No.
Hold up.
I know she has a match with Phil Ruka tonight. I did see that. I actually might watch that.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that for sure. I need to.
I noticed they put Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend together.
Graps. Okay, I'm gonna try and find this, folks, because I want to see Jaychele's legitimate reaction to this T-shirt. It's nothing like problematic or bad. It's just funny.
Okay.
I
thought it was problematic. I was like, oh god.
No, it's not. I understand your concerns, especially regarding the wrestler that is under discussion here. Okay, where is this fucking deal? Okay, I'm working on this, folks. Bear with me. It will be on the screen in mere moments. I promise. It is being added to the StreamYard now. Jaychele can attest. That can take some time. While that's there, I thought I'd just show this.
Oh, wow.
With that time filled.
Who made that?
That's like a real graphic someone made to celebrate.
Oh, I know, yeah.
But then Duke simply put Bob's. Here it is. Here it is.
I thought Shoot did that. Oh, wow.
Look at that shirt.
Toodles is crazy.
That's fucking incredible.
It looks like it's like Y2K with all that glitter. Like, it's going to end up like a store.
That is an incredible piece of business. Now, firstly, let's break this down. I don't watch NXT closely enough, but he's like that.
No, I haven't seen the NJ shirt either.
Okay, I'm going to have to show that now. This is just shows taking a dramatic turn here. I don't know if you keep up with it more than I do, but is that like a thing she says? Like, does her character just say "I'm hot" regularly, or is that like is this the T-shirt exclusive? What's the deal?
I think that's the T-shirt exclusive, but I know that there are some people in the chat who watch NXT regularly. So,
yeah. Now, the place not only is Toodles funny, but the placement of the Toodles too, you know, the way that it's high, like it's like a shirt, not like it's a sports jersey name.
The Toodles? Oh, it's on her Titantron. That's on her Titantron? That's crazy.
Wait. Hold up. Her Titantron just has I'm hot or Toodles. Which one? I mean, Eva's funny. I just feel like one's funnier than the other, you know?
Does she say Toodles when she wins?
I know she should. Every time I've seen her, she's been very impressive, legitimately. Like,
it has a peach representing her ass.
Yes, I'm about to put on the screen. The shirt, that is.
Oh my god.
All right, here we go. Folks, we'll return to our regularly scheduled program in a moment here. Let me remove this Tiff Strat t-shirt. Okay, here we go. We're moving to the Anna J tee here. This one caused some discussion, dare I say. Some discourse, even.
Oh.
Now, this is a television catchphrase right here. False.
Didn't Ty used to say something similar?
Yes. She also said she will be buying the shirt because I believe she said something to the effect of it, like, you know, it's on brand for her.
No fair.
Yeah. I want to find out this came from Chris Jericho. Because the idea of him pitching it is real grabs, you know? It feels like Jericho, right?
I'm sure you can find out on AEW All Access.
Very good. Speaking of such, Jaychele, what have you made of the first couple episodes of AEW All Access?
Yeah, I just wanted to do that transition because it was actually funny. The last episode was Ty kind of talking with the Bucks, and it was like actually her pitching an idea that she had, which was like her winning the title, or I think she was just having a match or either winning the title with Mercedes Martinez when she had the ROH Women's title. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it didn't end up happening, but I really like the idea of like kind of giving that glimpse into what it actually is like for the wrestlers. It has made me like Ty again, not Sammy, but it's definitely made me like Ty again, which I think is good. It makes me like Britt a lot too, which is really interesting. I'm not a Britt fan, but I'm low-key getting there. I think it's a really good representation of AEW, especially with all of like the locker room controversy, like everyone hates each other, they got beef type thing. I think the fact that they have this show is another audience that they can reach too as well, because like for me, that would be the perfect show to get me into wrestling when I was younger. Like a reality type TV show, something like that, I think is super interesting for them. And I would like to see them, like, even if they take maybe some people who are in like ROH, even like once they get on the road or like whatever ends up happening with that, or maybe some younger wrestlers and even putting them on the show and kind of show their development as well. Because that's one thing that's been really beneficial for Ty on the screen is she's like struggling, but she's like documenting her progress at the same time. So I think that's a really interesting story for some of the younger wrestlers as well.
So I've only seen a couple of clips. A few things I think worth talking about. Firstly, how much Eddie Kingston have we got thus far? Has it just been the Sammy thing? Is that all we've got?
Just the Sammy thing so far, yeah.
Yeah, which seemed, in fairness, to be pretty, you know, for a reality TV segment, seemed relatively grounded and authentic to what that looked like. You know?
There was a little part where he was like introducing himself and he was like, wrestling's not fake. That was the main like first thing he wanted to get out there, was the fact that wrestling was not fake. That was the first thing he wanted to say.
That sounds about right. Do you think... So I agree with everything you said. And it's one of those things that while I don't think it's for me, I think it's good that it exists. And like we saw with Total Divas, right? Like the way they got a different audience. Do you think there's a danger though that you like with this show exacerbate that kind of that online perception that everything is a work and everything's like they're planning something, you know? The reason I say that is, you know, clearly some things in AEW have escalated quite dramatically backstage, and certain guys have played it better than others, and certain guys are sitting at home right now because of stuff, you know, like, a lot went on. Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara may have figured out their stuff. Another guy turned up to work and tried to fight Sammy Guevara and hasn't been seen since. And it's like, do you think in some ways this could be dangerous with how online that roster is? It could almost like, you know, it could almost worsen that kind of infighting in some ways. What do you think? Is that something they need to police?
I mean, I think the fact that it's so heavily edited really benefits them. Like they can, if something's really going down, they can take it out. But I think it's mainly just like the people who aren't gonna want to be on TV, like they're just not gonna be on TV. I guess like they just have to like avoid, because I guess some people in wrestling like don't want to have that other piece of wrestling, which is like the extreme online connection with fans. Like old school wrestlers, obviously sometimes they don't want to be on, but like I think it's also beneficial for them to be on as well, because like that improves their popularity like across the board, to be honest. Like I think the biggest challenge that they're going to face with it though might just be like them struggling like between each other to get on the show. I think is going to be the main concern, because like I don't know how well the show is doing, but obviously I don't like ratings and stuff like that, but it does seem like it's working, like to increase popularity and stuff like that. So I think some people are going to be a little upset that they're not on there.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. The only reason I asked was because I think we both know how wrestlers behave well enough to know that they can be a rather paranoid bunch. They can get themselves worked up about things that aren't. And I do think that could be something to watch. And hopefully it's handled well internally and everyone knows the lines of what's real and what's not. And because I think it's a net positive. And I think the fact the show exists always is a win for the promotion. And I'm glad that, you're enjoying it and watching. And you obviously have a different perspective to like the general viewer of that show would watch it even differently than you, right? Because you're like more plugged into the kind of stories beyond the stories. I'd be really intrigued how it would play to someone who just went in completely blind, like not even any frame of reference on like, if Britt Baker's a good wrestler or who Eddie Kingston is. It would be fascinating to me how these people would come across, because wrestlers are fucking nuts, I don't know how they'd be perceived. So it's interesting. To be clear, I don't know how many people are watching that way. I doubt many, but nonetheless, I'm glad it exists. Okay. We have some Liv Morgan to talk about. Jaychele.
Indeed we do.
She pinned Trish Stratus last night. You aware of this?
Yeah, I did. I saw the clip. I didn't watch the match, but I did see the clip.
Well, probably for the best. It was what it was. It happens. I'm not going to give anyone shit for Raw last night, like who had bad matches. There was only a couple, but it was very late notice. Things were changing a lot, and it is what it is. It's a very hectic day at TV, I'd imagine. But firstly, let's talk about Liv. She pinned Trish, which has got to be a career best. Like, it's one of the best moments for her career, I'd imagine, right? Like, even wrestling Trish is crazy, but pinning her, that's nuts. So her and Raquel are the tag team champs. I'm intrigued by your take on this. We know you're a big Liv fan. You are not quite as big a fan of Raquel Rodriguez. What do you make of them as the world's tag team champions?
I'm okay because Liv got the pin. That's all I'm. Yeah. The other one's not that bad sometimes. If I just the other one, if I try really hard, I can just be okay with it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I want to see like the finish of the match. Did Trish turn before or after? After, right?
Yeah, after. They kind of framed her like a bad loser almost, like she kind of lashed out. Yeah. You said, by the way, when you described the team, you sound like me talking about the Good Brothers. The other one's okay. I can get around it, So that's the way I view them.
Wait, which one do you like?
Don't play with me like that. That's crazy. Asking me that question on the air, that's crazy. You could have ruined my whole career with that. That was dangerous. See, my life just flashed before my eyes when you asked that. I had an event then. It was horrible. Anyway, is there a concern as a Liv Morgan fan that like this tag thing is so weird, right? Like it's good, and when like a wrestler like wins the tag belt, you pop, but it never has any, and it always just goes in circles. It's like
there's no meaning. I don't have any investment. Cool, she won tag titles.
Yeah.
What else?
It's a bummer. It doesn't need to be this way, but that's the way it is. Yeah.
I have a question. Was it Trish who came out first, or was it Lita who came out first with Becky? Because I thought Becky and Lita won the belts.
They did.
They did Freebird yesterday?
No, they did an angle where someone attacked Lita. Now, we don't know whom, I don't think.
So technically, they did do Freebird.
Technically, yeah, but it was more a case of like Trish late notice that said, "I'm going to defend this belt." And
How would you do that if you're not the champion? Technically,
it seems like someone is assisting Trish Stratus.
I don't know what that means.
Nor do I, but I wanted to say it in a way that made you assume I was hinting at a scoop, even though I don't have anything.
I'm very confused. How do you have Freebird rules for a team that is not a team? How do you declare when Freebird rules are okay? They could just be friends and be like, "Hey, come defend my tag bet with me because my partner doesn't feel like it."
Well, I think that's what it is. I think it's more that than a formal free, but it's almost like when Sammy defended on behalf of Jim Uso. It's sort of, I think if you're a tag champion, you just say, "I'll defend it with anyone." I think that's the way it works. I think
that's how that goes.
Well, what do you? I mean, that is how it goes.
That's not how the rules work.
There's no debate about this. This is what happened.
Nobody explained it. Nobody said anything. They just go, "Oh."
I think Lita has to sign like a waiver. You know?
Okay.
Like yes, like Trish Stratus can defend the women's tag title.
Now we're talking.
Yes, I should have noted the waiver.
Oh my god, like a godfather or a godmother for the tag titles in case the person is unable to defend. There's a godmother.
Okay, fair. Pitch. What if Tiff Strat is Trish Stratus backup? What we in? What we thinking?
Sure.
See, once upon a time when I was in my prime, I'd have done like a 5-minute Alexa Bliss pitch there, but I ain't got the juice for it anymore. I haven't got it in me, you know. I can't. I've not got the energy for this, but nonetheless, so that's where we're at with Liv. So you're kind of whatever on it, as much as it popped you. Something, you know. It's cool she won. Who cares, right? Unfortunately.
Who gives a fuck about the tag titles anyway?
Yes. But you will persevere with quote the other one, which I respect. All right. Now Becky and Trish. Excitement level for that feud. Is that something you're into? Where do you stand on that as a potential feud for the summer?
7.
That's pretty good.
7.
Now, what's the main selling point for you there? To me, kind of, I think the most interesting part is Trish getting the chance to be a heel again, which she hasn't done in, 17 years, right? Right? Like, because every time she came back, she was always a babyface. She was a legend. Like, that's the most interesting. Is it the same for you? Where do you stand on the kind of, what jumps out for you?
I'm more intrigued in a Trish singles match. I also like the idea of Becky being like the legend killer too for the women. I think that's a super interesting idea if they go with something like that, because she already had the match with Lita, of course. I think it's an interesting like pairing, and I think it's a big like superstar match for the summer for them. And it's a good non-title now women's feud. So
yeah, I agree. I'm not.
is not taking Bianca's belt. We need to chill in the comments. We need to chill.
We'll get to that, folks. Everyone calm down. Everyone in chat, calm down. It's a little bit of an emotional day. I was just asked who I prefer between the Good Brothers. I understand you're lashing out on my behalf, folks. You don't need to do that, okay? Tiffany Stratton has a new T-shirt. Take it easy. Everyone calm down. Jaychele, tell the people to calm down, please. We need to
calm down.
Now. There we go. Okay, now. Back to this Becky Lynch Stratus match. I think the match itself will probably be pretty damn good, and I hope that Trish really has fun with the character part of it. I'm intrigued by this legend killer business, you know. Not even because you wouldn't even do it as like, you know, as the way Randy did it. It would be cool if just as a babyface she wanted to like prove her worth against all of the great women of yesteryear. That's just like a cool. Like, who could she work with? Beth would be an obvious one, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't done the Beth match. Oh, that match. They should have been done that match. They had the spooky in the cell. They should have did it.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, they could have done that. You're right. Absolutely. No, you're right. I agree with that completely.
We'll get there.
We will get there. I'm trying to think of other matches they could do with Becky. Other legends.
What legends still work in like the Rumble? That's would be willing to come back.
Michelle always looks like she like is ready to go when she does those spots, right?
A SummerSlam thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I like the idea though. I need to kind of think about the names some. But let's get to the aforementioned Io and Bianca business. That is, I think that's announced, or it seemed like where we're going for the next pay-per-view, Bianca and Io. And,
she's pregnant.
well, yeah, I will say, and we've all loved Kelly, God bless her, but that headline where it was like Kelly announces pregnancy, she'll step away from wrestling for the time being, was fucking incredible. Like, because I immediately read it and was like, wait, what? And all of the replies said it too. It was something.
Just the appearances at like conventions and stuff. So
yes, absolutely. It's not her. It's just the way it was framed. You know, it was what made it funny. But good for her. Are you a big Kelly merchant?
Did you just hear me sing the song?
Listen, there's a lot of wrestling songs that are sung that are not necessarily indicative of one being.
I do love Kelly.
Good.
Kelly's a living legend, bro.
Works for me. The thing with Bianca and Io is it feels like the real headline here is Damage Control being done, right? It feels like that's like, I don't think it's about Io winning so much as it is Bayley's going to do something really mean here, isn't she? She's going to do something dastardly, dare I say.
What is she going to do?
I think she's going to cost Io the match.
I like that.
If I can't beat her, you can't beat her. You know, that deal, that old song and dance.
Bitch.
She's going to call her a bitch. She's going to she's going to do that laugh she does. She's going to call her a bitch, the laugh. But yeah, I think that's where they're going. Are you excited though for Bianca and Io nonetheless?
That match is going to be great.
Absolutely.
Because Bianca's one of the people who can move faster.
Mm-hmm.
She's definitely one of the faster women's wrestlers. So, in my personal opinion, I mean, well, what I saw in Japan put that to shame. But
let's talk about it. We got to talk about that. That was some real graps. Mercedes Mone defended the IWGP Women's title against Azumi and Hazuki, and they had like 13 minutes, and they packed just an insane amount of real graps in this. I mean, it was fucking awesome, absolute thriller. You text me when you was watching it. I hadn't seen it yet, but I caught up on it. I was glad you enjoyed it. Just broad takeaways, and we'll kind of get into it overall. Go ahead, Jaychele.
Yeah, I had a very emotional connection to that match. I don't know why. I was just like, it was not what I was expecting at all. I think when I was watching it, I was more so expecting more like the Kairi Sane match, because that was a little bit slower, I think, and like obviously it was longer, so it was a little more spread out. No, every time you blink, something was happening, and that's perfect wrestling for me. You guys all know. I was on New Japan World, by the way. And I showed Dylan yesterday too, because I really just wanted to rewatch it anyway, and it was still as cool as the first time. And now I'm excited for her next match. Somebody's going to teach me how to watch Stardom, but I'm going to figure it out.
A lot of pay-per-view purchasing with Stardom, what I gather. So, but that one will be worth it, I think. In terms of this particular match, so I'm not a big triple threat fella, as you know, Jaychele. I've been a little bit. I've lashed out at times about triple threats. However, I was really glad the way they wrestled this one with the time they got. They just kind of. They really just did like a high speed style match in the sense that it was all out, you know, and as you said, you couldn't blink. They did a really good job of sequencing things together. Everyone felt involved at almost all times, right? Like some of the little combinations they put together. Was that the first time you'd seen Azumi and Hazuki? Was that the first time?
Oh,
okay,
sure.
So we have news here. So Nif Meng says, did you know that Kelly was Hazuki from Stardom's favorite wrestler growing up? I think I remember reading she may have influenced her getting into wrestling. Okay, now, I was already a fan because Hazuki had one of my favorite matches of the year so far. Great wrestler. This is a game changer, though, right? I mean, this is good shit right here.
Yes, that is good shit. Yes, indeed it is.
The Kelly Stan wrestling the way that Hazuki wrestles is fucking that's amazing. Genuine.
Joe.
Yes.
I want to pull up my text message to you about the finish, because that was one of my favorite finishes to a match ever.
It was pretty sweet.
I don't remember exactly what I said to you, but I know I said something about them banging their heads together.
I remember you were very fired up. I do. I recall this.
I said, Joe, she finished the match by having 2 women crack heads on each other.
I mean, true. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so genuine question. Your first time seeing both Azumi and Hazuki. Are they the fastest women's wrestlers you've ever seen?
Azumi moves so fast, I can't tell she's moving. Like,
she's outrageous. Yeah. She's
I
ridiculous. That dive spot she did to the floor, the way she like just sailed through the air, like
didn't know that they had other like Stardom women help catch them. That was the first time I saw that. I was like, oh.
It was real graps. Yeah, like I don't know. I'm not an aficionado on Joshi by any means. Azumi is, I think, pretty regularly listed as like one of the faster wrestlers.
I know they said she was like high speed champion.
Yes, yeah, exactly. James mentions this faster. I'm sure there is. We're not, we're not experts. I mean, I've this year I've tried to make an effort to watch more. It's hard because there's so much wrestling, but I've watched like the main matches.
Yeah.
Both those two have impressed me so much. Hazuki wrestles with this like this desperation, She's so everything. Urgency. That's it. Yeah, like she really feels like she's chasing a win. It's very, very compelling.
I don't know, like I need like a comparison. How big of stars are they in Japan? Like if you were to compare them to like, or maybe
the question
can help with that. Like if you were to compare them to like a WWE or AEW wrestler, like male or female, just to give an idea of where they sit in terms of like star power.
I love the question. I actually am interested in the answer on that too, because I'm not an expert either. And I mean, Japanese wrestling is interesting in that regard anyway, because there's top guys in promotions that a lot of hardcore fans from overseas watch that aren't necessarily big stars in Japan. The same way that maybe like a Josh Alexander, for example, in Impact. It's like if you just watched his match in Impact, it's like he feels like a big deal, but obviously he's not. He's not famous in the States.
Is that for Azumi? The Darby Allin comparison. I know that
probably.
I know that Mayu, I think that's how you say her name, the one who she had the press conference with this morning, is like apparently a legend.
Yes. Yeah, that match is people in the know are framing that match as like
Liv Morgan. Okay.
Yeah. To me, almost more interesting is, and those of you in the chat that are more familiar, please throw an answer this because I don't know. What would be like, so Bianca Belair to me is not that far away from like the biggest male stars in the industry, nor is Mercedes for that matter. How's the comp between the Joshi talent and like Okada in Japan? That's what always intrigues me. Like I never get a good read on that, because obviously it's very different in Japan, absolutely. So in terms of the Mayu Mercedes match, people in the know are absolutely framing that as like a GOAT candidate match, which is pretty cool. It's really cool this run's happening. Like we talked about when it was taking shape. To see any mainstream star decide they're going to just do their thing in Japan is cool in itself. But for it to be a female star, wow, this is history. It's very, very special. So Kirby says Azumi is like Ali and Hazuki is like NXT Bailey.
Interesting. I think NXT Bailey makes sense, like even just presentation wise. Yes. I love Azumi's presentation. I think that she looks like she could get over in the US. Somebody had it in a comment earlier too, but she please don't. Please do not come. Do not come here. We bad people. I told you that. No. But
I'm with you though. She definitely would. The one I think when she does eventually do something in the States, Starlight Kid will go over huge. Maybe you've seen her. She's super quick, like crazy quick. And her presentation is spectacular too. Azumi is 20. She started this. Jason's comment. This is from. She started in Stardom at 9 years old. She and Starlight Kid, I was just talking about, probably the two fastest Stardom wrestlers. Starlight Kid is 21. She started when she was 10 or 11. Whenever I see her, I'm like, yeah. If I had a territory, that'd be.
How do you start professional wrestling at that age? How do you start professional wrestling in Japan? That's exactly what I want to know.
Built different,
How are you 9 years old and you wake up and go,
basically,
I'm gonna go to wrestling?
You walk in and they ask you a very simple question. They say, are you the real? If you say no, you leave. If you say yes, you get to work. That's the way it works. We do the same thing at the Late Night Grin. Remember that, Jaychele?
I do remember, yes.
I asked Dukes like 15 times before he answered it.
Submit x-rays of my lungs with a dog in them.
That was a good line, but I was burying Dukes there. I was, the idea of me asking Dukes 15 times if he was the real and him just saying no. Anyway, the match was awesome. So you're in on watching the. Are you thinking you may purchase the Stardom deal? Where do you stand on that?
Is it expensive?
I don't know.
How expensive? How much are these Stardom shows? I'm on a budget.
I'm not sure they've. Someone said earlier they've not announced how they're actually.
Oh, maybe the Joshi retire early. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the starting point is it's tough. Hayes says expensive. Maybe time to save up for the graps, folks. Maybe time.
Duke said check my DMs.
God,
okay.
Dukes is sending illegal links now. I'm sure this piece
of
shit.
I didn't know that I could view on there. I will be enjoying.
Okay. A couple other things here.
Thank you, Dukes.
Switchblade Jay White, famed member of the iconic power rankings once.
$30 or $40.
They run a lot of pay-per-views, it must be said. Okay. Anyway, Jay White, famed member of the great power rankings of yesteryear, after almost every direction pointed in WWE's way, then last Tuesday, there was that story of nope, doesn't like it's happening. And then the next night he appeared on AEW, which absolutely means that WWE leaked that story the day before and was like, no, not happening, spoil it, which whatever, fine. What did you make of that? That was pretty interesting.
We did know this. I knew he was going to wait out the sale, and then he waited out the sale, and now he's in AEW. I'm not very shocked. If Vince was not involved, I think he would have signed with WWE. Obviously, there's the hiring freeze too, which comes to play into that. But I think he would have signed with WWE if there was no sale and if Triple H was in charge. Once Vince came back and they were talking about the sale, I was like,
what do you make of he's kind of fit in AEW and the role he can play? It feels like he could be really big for them. He's 30. He's got a lot left to offer, he's fresh.
When did they do that Juice Robinson, Ricky Starks angle? When did they set that up?
That was 4 weeks ago. A lot of people believe that's when they were confident,
That's what I thought. I thought Jay White was coming out then.
Me too. Yeah, and I think that was on purpose now we look back on it, Because the big question everyone asked was, why did they set that up specifically with the Bullet Club thing? Because Juice could have just come out as Juice, right? Juice hadn't necessarily...
Knew it. Obviously, they did it because of the Bullet Club. No,
You just said, I knew it. You would do solving a murder mystery or something,
Like a detective.
Yeah, exactly. I cracked it. You slam your fist down. But Jay White, what does this mean for MJF, Jaychele?
Nothing.
Are you sure?
Not now, anyway.
You sure that at some point he's going to walk into Tony's office and complain about something? Tony's going to say, you know what, man, enough. I have Jay White now. Can we move on?
By the time that they're ready to put him at the top level, I think that MJF won't have the title anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
I think when they do the Adam Cole stuff, he's there. I think that's what they're gonna. I don't think MJF is the one for him.
Yeah, I actually agree completely. I think that's probably the title lineage. What you just said there. I don't know if you intended to do it that directly, but I think we're gonna go to Adam Cole to Jay White. I think that's where we're headed with that belt. Which will be, Adam Cole is a guy who's believe it or not still young after how long he's been around. Yes, Jaychele?
I have a guess for who wins after.
Ricky Starks. Yes. Real graps. Ricky Starks, Jay White. Now we're talking. Okay, I like it. Okay. I'm going to close with this, Jaychele, because I think it'll pop you. I am headed to Paris, France in a couple of weeks.
I've seen you tweeting.
Yes, I'm on a business trip to visit my friends at the World Wrestling Federation. Now, you may have seen this, but for the sake of conversational content, I will now read the card that is.
I only saw the top match. I didn't click into it. So.
Oh, you're in for a treat. Here we go, folks. This is the card that'll be waiting for me in Paris, France. The main event, we have Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins versus the Judgment Days, Finn Balor and Damian Priest.
I saw that one. Yeah.
Not ideal, right? I'm not, but it's all right. It's fine.
As a Seth Rollins hater, I could see why you personally would not enjoy that.
Yes, I'm very mad, but
my household would enjoy that a lot.
I just don't understand why they have to be friends. Cody's enough of a loser now without being friends with Seth freaking Rollins.
Seth Rollins won his WrestleMania match.
Oh, it was against Logan Paul. That doesn't count. Okay.
Do you think if you fought Logan Paul, you would win?
He'd kick the shit out of me.
Joe, name an animal right now you think you could beat up in a fight.
An animal?
An animal. And it has to actually put up a fight. Don't just choose a goose.
Well, what? Okay, so I'm now looking for an animal that's going to both put up a fight, but I can still beat it.
Exactly, yeah. Give yourself a little challenge. In the comments, in the chat, you guys can put up your animal too.
I don't really want to talk about fighting animals. That feels dangerous. It seems like I feel like it's up to the people.
It's just an icebreaker joke, Joe.
Huh?
It's just an icebreaker joke.
I personally, quite frankly, Joshua, I do not like to break ice talking about beating up animals. It's not the way I operate generally. I respect it, I appreciate it, but
personally, I would choose a bear.
A bear? No, absolutely not. Now, hang on. For me? No. Have some humility. That's outrageous. A bear. Come on.
I would not choose a bear. That was
anyway. Back to Paris, France. Here we go. This next match is pretty sweet. Raw Women's title: Bianca, Becky, Asuka, and Bayley. 4-way. That's pretty damn good.
That's good.
Okay. Now things unravel.
Record that one for me.
United States title: Bobby Lashley versus The Miz versus Austin Theory.
Do you remember what I did earlier?
Yes, this one. Yes, yeah. Not my favorite usage of Bob. All right. This next run of matches is fucking incredible.
Okay.
Dexter Lumis versus Dominic Mysterio. That's a real match they're doing.
That gives the NXT live house shows.
Indeed. This next one might be similar. Rick Boogs versus Omos.
How much were those tickets?
Too much. Angelo Dawkins versus Baron Corbin. I don't even get tears.
You get the bad one.
Dolph Ziggler versus my friend Bronson Reed. But never fear, the good brothers are here. Gallows and Anderson versus Ridge Holland and Butch.
I'm happy you have that, because if you didn't, I would say get a refund. Yeah,
I need to be there. I need to throw them up. You know the deal. I mean, they're going to tear it up with Dunn and Ridge. I mean, that's going to be a fucking classic. Can you imagine the kind of match they're going to have?
Chops. Why are you going all the way to France? How far is France from you?
It's a little flight. I mean, they're in England the week I go. I like to party.
You like to party.
I'm famous for my party antics. You know this, Jaychele.
Wrestling fans are famous for their party antics.
There's one thing they say about Bing Bong. They say you can't go to Wembley. Bing Bong will go out partying. That's the last thing you need.
Bing Bong.
That's where the nickname comes from. Bing Bong's a different character altogether, folks. We don't show it on the air. It's too extreme, quite frankly.
Is Bing Bong the name of the character from Inside Out, the purple one?
I hope so. That's a great film.
Because if it is, I think that we should put your face on it.
That's a classic, actually. Inside Out, it's a classic. Good stuff. Well, we'll keep that in mind, folks. But that's.
I have a new branding idea.
Okay, good. I knew it. Okay, good.
I knew it.
On that triumphant note, Jaychele, do you have any plugs, any promotions, any final words?
You guys can just follow me on Twitter, Jaychele with 3 E's. I don't really have anything. I post some DI resources on there sometimes when I create them. So if I have anything, you guys can check that out on my socials. And hopefully I'll actually have some DI wrestling stuff coming soon. There's a new partnership blooming, so maybe.
The 3 E's gimmick? Is that a tribute to EC3?
It's a tribute to Swerve.
That was very good. Very good. May age badly, but very good. Nonetheless, folks, I'll be back on this very platform No, not this platform. Forget this platform. Thursday and Friday, latenightgrin.com. $1 gets you in the house. The Late Night Grin itself on Thursday, and then WCW Remade on Friday. I'll be back on this platform on the weekend for our Spring Stampede Grin Along. Jaychele messaged me, said, I'm jealous. You're going to do that Ricky Steamboat Ric Flair match? What I would give, she said, what I would give to be there for that one. So that will be Saturday. It's going to be Bob, myself, Manny the Hooper, a couple of others, I think. So lots going on, lots to look forward to. Jaychele and Joe show, we're looking Tuesdays here for the foreseeable. The time may change a little bit because, God, life is just kicking the shit out of me, you know? Just.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you've got more stuff going on that's like actually interesting and such, but just the most boring, you know, it's just over here, I'm just getting the shit kicked out of me. But we're going to try to get this show rocking every Tuesday once again now in our post-Mania kind of season. We had a nice run before Mania, now we're back on it. Tuesdays, time will be weekly, kind of up and down, but we'll try and rock nonetheless. So we hope you enjoyed this, folks. Follow Jaychele, the free E's included. Shout out to EC3. I'm just kidding, folks. She has a new tattoo.
I don't want to know what that is.
Okay, fair. It's not, well, it did look problematic. I don't think it was, though. Also, Bob and Oracle did a Fed Dead Redemption last night in which Bob froze in the first 10 seconds of the show. And so Oracle just did a solo promo for like 10 minutes. And then Bob came in on his phone. It was quite the event. So we wish them the best.
Business.
Well, not everyone's a pro, Jaychele, you know? Not everyone knows how to just grab a headlock and call some stuff. And
I think that Oracle just had to be Snoop Dogg in the moment because Bob was just Shane.
If I had $1 for every time I've said the phrase, I just think Oracle had to be Snoop Dogg in the moment. I'd be a rich man, let me tell you. All right, folks, there you go. On that note, keep grinning, all hail, and enjoy this outro.